The goal of today's session, yes, it's for the CISOs and CIOs to share information. But for me, it was critical for them to understand that most of them have already made the investments that they need. And I felt like the industry is kind of giving us a bad name. We're always trying to sell new things, new tools. We never stop and pause and say, okay, let's look at what you've done. And using at what you've done, how do we realize value from that? Yes, we do have challenges, but we're not starting at zero. A lot of the work is done already. And there's a lot of smiles in there. I think the mission is partly accomplished.
I think return on investment is showing the value of what the repercussions could have been had we not implemented the tools. And I think showing that qualitatively would assist versus just focusing linearly on rands and cents. We share, we take away, and we implement. And I think that's important to understand that we are not so far off from each other. And that's the beauty of having these roundtables.
So if you look at the telecoms or the service provider industry, you would think that there's a way to deal with cyber because it's telecoms. Or if you look at banking, you think there's a way to deal with cyber in banking. Or if you look at oil and gas, you'll think it's the same. But it's interesting to see the varied views in the room. They have different priorities, and I think it comes down to the skill set specifically in cyber. So what we're seeing is very difficult to get skills in cyber or good skills in cyber. And cyber takes a whole different mindset, whole different thinking.
How do we elevate security to an enterprise-wide risk that is strategic, that requires various aspects of the organization to reconsider how we respond and how we proactively manage security? So I think for me that gap is still there because we look at it as security and then we only come to the board when we need money. And it shouldn't be that way. When we think about our corporate strategy, how are we thinking about the threat landscape that is external to the organization? That's where we need to start. And I think that's where the conversation was really going. It's not about just the internal, but looking at it from the top of the organization and how we can actually work corporately to address the issues that we face.
It was quite interesting, the conversation around the culture related to cybersecurity and how you can encourage an organization to be able to be more cyber secure, to be able to provide the right training and ensure that people are just cyber aware in how they use technology. But more importantly, how do you take that conversation back to the board? Your board is there to ensure that they provide oversight to the business, but they need to have the right information and facts for them to be able to steer. So it's very important as a security leader, when you go into that room, that you have clear understanding of what is the risks to the business and being clear on how you're then going to communicate it to the board in a way that it can be understood by someone who's not from a technical background.
I've been to a couple of roundtables before, and I enjoy these sessions more than I enjoy, going to presentations where there's a huge audience and there's somebody talking about something. In a normal business environment, when somebody invests or puts forward money to improve the business, there's a return. With cybersecurity or security as such, it's different because it's more of a preventative kind of function and you don't see those immediate returns. So calculating return on investment is something that's very complicated to do. It involves a lot of knowledge of your organization, where you currently sit within your security posture, your current state. And I think the session today helped a lot because we delved into a lot of issues. We got a good perspective of what they think is a good return on investment with regards to cybersecurity. So today's discussion was really useful and helpful in that regard.